Are you a fan of action movies? How about martial arts? Have you ever wondered what would happen if the biggest names in action and martial arts came together for a matchup? Well, in today's video, we will be talking about Scott Adkins and Jason Statham and what could happen when the two enter into a duel. Now, let's dive right in. You might know Scott Adkins as the actor who played Yuri Boyka in the Undisputed movies. His full name is Scott Edward Adkins, and he was born into an English family in Sutton Coldfield, England. His parents John and Janet Adkins raised him and his brother Craig while working as butchers. They were a middle-class family who lived simple lives. Today, Scott Adkins is one of the prominent names in Hollywood when it comes to action movies. Before this, though, he was like any other kid. He studied at Bishop Vesey's grammar school in his hometown. It seems that the young boy knew at an early age what his future would be like, as he would often watch movies in secret during bedtime. Naturally, Scott would find himself falling asleep in class. Nonetheless, he was quite the student. When he's not in class, Scott regains his energy instantly and would play all sorts of games and sports. He enjoyed the outdoors and was a very active kid. At 10 years old, Scott found the perfect sport to put his energy into. This happened after his father brought him and his brother to a local judo club. To the young boy, the martial art looked enticing enough. Right there and then, Scott was fascinated by the sport, and it didn't take long for him to convince his father to transform their garage into a dojo, his very own training ground. From then, Scott started looking up to stars and martial artists like Bruce Lee. In his transformed garage, he even had a space dedicated to the martial artist whom he would bow to. He was also a fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme, who he would also work with in the future. At this point, he was very much interested in martial arts already. But what really sealed the deal for the young boy was when he was mugged when he was 13 years old, which motivated him even more to train harder. The teenage Scott vowed to himself that he wouldn't experience that again. After the incident, he was even more committed to his training and developing his defensive skills. And when we say committed, the young man meant it. A few months later, he started to study and train in Taekwondo, which allowed him to master his kicks and stances. When he was 16 years old, he decided to train in another martial art. This time, he focused on kickboxing, which helped him further refine the skills he learned in Taekwondo. After some time, Scott became a kickboxing coach for the Professional Karate Association. Aside from judo, Taekwondo, and kickboxing, Scott also went on to try other martial arts, including jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, ninjutsu, wuxi, and capoeira. Yup, the man is definitely a martial artist. Throughout his training, Scott maintained his love for movies, especially action movies. When he was in college, he signed up for a drama class. His beginnings in acting weren't smooth since he was shy, making it difficult for him to act in front of people. At 21 years old, he got into the Webber Douglas Academy of Dramatic Art. For the young man, his dreams of acting were starting to become a reality. But reality hit him when he found himself struggling to pay for his classes. The Academy was one of the leading schools for drama back then, so his admission came with a hefty price tag, which left him no choice but to drop out. The young Scott was devastated, but thanks to his years of martial arts training, he managed to land a minor role in Jackie Chan's The Accidental Spy in 2001. The same year, he got to be in Extreme Challenge, a Hong Kong film. This proved to be the film to start it all for Scott, as he got to work with Hong Kong's giants in cinema, including Jackie Chan. After his acting stint in Hong Kong, he began to be cast in English movies like BBC's EastEnders and Doctors. Eventually, Scott's martial arts skills would be used to the full extent when he started getting lead roles in action movies. He starred as the Russian MMA underground fighter Yuri Boyka in Undisputed 2: The Last Man Standing, which launched his name into mainstream media. Since then, he has worked in several blockbuster movies like The Expendables 2 and Universal Soldier. He continues to train daily at home and in the gym. Scott is also working on a few more movies which will hit the big screen anytime now. Now that you all know about Scott Adkins' background and training in martial arts, it's time for Jason Statham. Can he live up to Scott Adkins? Stay tuned, as you will know soon enough. Like Scott Adkins, Jason Statham is an English actor who has starred in many action films. He was born on July 26, 1967 in Derbyshire to his parents Eileen and Barry Statham, a dancer and a marketplace seller. He is part of the best-selling film franchise Fast and Furious as Deckard Shaw. Before becoming a successful actor, Scott had to work and help out his family as much as he could. Helping his father, he would sell pretty much anything just to make ends meet, including fake perfume and jewelry. Yep, the Fast and Furious star used to roam the streets and markets just to earn some cash. While he did all these, Jason remained athletic. In fact, he didn't want to sell things. He wanted to focus on his martial arts training, which was a privilege he couldn't enjoy since his family needed money. So, the young Jason would do both. Help his father by selling in the market and work on his martial arts training. Aside from martial arts, Jason also enjoyed playing football. The young man was also good in the water. He started diving and became a part of England's national swimming team when he was just 12 years old. His diving years taught him a lot about discipline, which was helpful as he progressed with his martial arts training. It's reported that Jason has trained in several martial arts. This includes kickboxing, Wing Chun Kung Fu, karate, and even Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, in which he has a purple belt. Although we don't know much about the extent of his training, it's safe to assume that the man can pull off the best action stunts and fight scenes. Speaking of stunts, Jason is known to do all of them on his own. With his experience and athleticism, there's really no need for a stunt double. So how exactly did Jason Statham become the action star he is today? What landed him his first acting gig? Well, he was in diving training. He was discovered by the sports modeling agency Sports Promotions, which kick-started his modeling career. In 1996, he was picked up by brands like Levi's and Tommy Hilfiger. A year later, he became a regular model for French Connection, a clothing line based in the UK. Here, he was introduced to director Guy Ritchie, who was looking to cast someone in his lead role. As mentioned previously, Jason was a street seller, which Ritchie found to be appropriate for the role. This landed him the role of Bacon in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Later on, Ritchie gave him another role in 2000 in the film Snatch. This was also a huge project for Jason because he got to work with stars like Brad Pitt. He received his first big paycheck for this, an upgrade from what he earned as a model and as a street seller. It didn't take much time before Jason entered Hollywood. In 2001, he got to star in Ghosts of Mars and The One. A year later, he got his breakthrough as Frank Martin in The Transporter. The action film was the very first one where Jason would completely show off his skills in martial arts. At this point, Jason was on his way to be a household name in the action world. The success of the film led to 2 sequels in 2005 and 2006. Since then, Jason has landed roles in many action thriller films like The Italian Job, Crank, and War. Aside from the Transporter trilogy, he has been a part of other blockbuster film franchises, including The Expendables and Fast and Furious. Jason has come a long way from selling random things in the streets of England. Today, he is one of Hollywood's leading stars in the action industry. So, who do you think is the better fighter and action star between Scott Adkins and Jason Statham? Well, Scott Adkins has been officially trained in quite a few martial arts since he was just a kid. Jason Statham's training remains unclear, but his action-packed movies certainly speak for themselves. Both of them have their strengths, so who between the two do you think will win a fight? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this episode, like this video and share it with your friends and family. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. You may also want to check out our other videos. Thanks for watching.